Good morning, guys. Welcome to day one of camp. We're super excited that you're here. I'm Mrs. Keller.
I'm Mrs. Anderson. Each day you'll find all your activities throughout the Nearpod. Please make sure you take your pre-assessment first, and then you'll see a quick lesson, a quick activity, and then we're going to show you how each skill applies to the ACT.
All right, guys. So we will have office hours from at 10:45 every morning. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. You'll be able to visually see us. But we are available all morning through Team Chat. So let's get started with today. So today's lesson, we're going to be identifying and practicing properties of parallel lines, and we're going to learn how to find those measures in an angle. All right, so let's get started. Hey guys, let's talk about what you need today. All right, so you're going to need a notebook. You're going to need some scissors. You're going to need your glue stick. I like to have some highlighters handy because we're going to be highlighting a few things today. If you don't have any, no biggie. But definitely need something to write with. I recommend pencils because best for erasing. You're also going to need Monday's work, which is this green packet that looks like this. You're going to need all of these for today. So, we're going to be talking about transversals, parallel lines, and angle pairs and their relationship with one another. So, what you're going to do is let's cut out this big rectangle. I think it's a rectangle. I didn't measure it. It might be a square. And you're going to cut the big one out, cut on the dotted line, and we're going to fold on this thick part here. So when you're finished, it's going to look like this. Okay, so you can pause and do that. I'm going to glue the back part of this onto here. And it's just going to help us to make flaps, to help us remember what we're talking about and how we're taking notes and good things like that, okay? If you want to go ahead and do all of them, you can. In fact, that's what I'm going to do as well. So you'll take the next page here, cut the big part out. It should look like this. You're going to glue the back, stick it on that notebook. We're going to talk about each one of these after we get set up. Then you're going to do the next page, which is about same side interior angles. Same thing, you're going to glue the back, stick it on, and then finally you're going to just kind of cut the whole rectangle out and put it on your paper. All right, and if you need to pause, you can. Jump back with us when you get ready. Alrighty, let me find. So let's talk about parallel lines. You've been talking about parallel lines probably quite some time. Parallel lines are lines that never intersect. Intersect. And what does intersect mean? That means just to cross each other, right? Each other. So if you hold your arms out, zoop, 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 straight out, and those lines never go out, you hold your arm straight out, those lines would never intersect. If you do this, they eventually would intersect, right? So those are not parallel lines. But any lines that go on and on and on that never touch are called parallel lines, right? So let's draw some parallel lines. I'm going to draw, they can be horizontal, and mine are not going to be perfect because I'm not using a perfect straight edge. Or it could be vertical. You got to be careful with these. In order to make sure that they're clear, that they're parallel, especially if you're drawing it like what I'm doing, often they'll put a little line like this to let you know that these are parallel lines. Okay? Lines that never intersect, never cross each other. Transversal. Transversal. When I see transversal, I think about transforming, and that's kind of what it does. A transversal line is a line that intersects, is a line that intersects two or more other lines at two different points. Different points. They don't have to be parallel lines. I'm going to show you an example. This right here is a transversal. So it doesn't have to be parallel line for it to be a transversal. But when they are parallel lines, they help you out a lot. And I'm going to talk to us how they can help us, especially on an ACT. Yeah, it'll help us a whole lot. This one right here is an example of a transversal, but it does not have, but it makes different angles. How many angles can you spot on this one? Yeah, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome. If you transversals can change things up, can make different angles, right? And if a transversal goes through parallel lines, they can help us out. They can tell us about corresponding angles, ulterior angles, alternate exterior angles, and all these other good things that we have on our notebook. So let's talk about these. Let's start with corresponding angles. These are angles that live on the same side of the transversal. Okay? They live on the same side of the transversal. And the same sides of lines of the parallel lines, and the same side of the parallel lines. Right? So let's take a look at a visual for that. If we're looking at, I guess you can draw this. Why don't you draw this in your notebook? I'll draw it here. We can go parallel lines and use your notebook there. We'll call this one A, this one B, and let it know that it's parallel. And let's make a transversal going down. And let's number our angles. We'll say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right? The corresponding angles are angles that live on the same side of the transversal, so on the same side and the same side of the parallel lines. So it's either on the bottom or the top. All right? So these are corresponding angles. 1 and 5 would be corresponding angles because they're on the same side of the transversal and they're both on the top of their parallel line. I want you to spot what's another another corresponding angle there on here. Yeah, 3 and 7, because on this side and this side, and it's on the bottom of the parallel line. What's another? Yeah, 2 and 6 would be corresponding angles. And then 4 and 8, because they're on the same side of the transversal and the same side of the parallel line. This is so going to come in handy because a lot of times they only are going to give you, when we're talking about, they give us the angle number, they might ask us, what's the, if angle 1 is 110 degrees, find the measure for angle 5. And if you remember that they are corresponding angles, you can answer the question like that, right? Because when crossing parallel lines, the corresponding angles become congruent, and which is equal, right? So it helps out where you don't have to bust out that protractor in order to solve for those. All right? I'm going to pause right there for a second. Okay, guys, I'm going to just draw my diagram again real quick. The exact same diagram, just so I don't get it confused with what I was talking about there, to help me out. Make my transversal. I'm still gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so when we're looking at this and we're talking about alternate interior angles and exterior angles, first you kind of need to know about interior and exterior angles. The way you can do that, I look at this, and if you think about this as like a big, I don't know, chocolate cookie or even a hamburger. And so like this is the top, this will be the bun. This will be the bun, and this is all the goodness in the inside, right? This will be the interior of your hamburger or your Oreo cookie, the inside, the white cream, right? So all of these angles on the inside would be interior, right? This will be the interior, and then all the angles on the outside would be exterior angles, okay? That's key to know about the difference between interior and exterior angles. So let's talk about these. Alternate interior angles, let's open this one up. They are non-adjacent angles that live, I keep saying live, you know, that's just the word I'm using, between lines, we know it's not alive, lines A and B, and on alternate sides of the transversal. So what does that mean? Can you pick out the pair of alternate interior angles? Alternate interior angles. Did you say 4 and 5? Yes, because if it's alternate interior, this is inside, and it's non-adjacent, so it's not on the same side. So this would be these two. What would be the others? Yeah, 3 and 6. So we know that those would be congruent as well, right? So if you know what 4 is, you should know what 5 is. If you know what 3 is, you'll know what the 6 is. All right? All right, guys. So that's how we can figure out alternate interior angles. I'm going to put that little arrow there to help us going with that. So I bet you're kind of already catching on here. So alternate exterior angles, I'm going to draw that diagram one more time, just so we can be clear here with my highlighting and stuff. So I'll put my numbers 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Just like what I said over here, we talked about the interior. Now we're going to talk about the exterior angles. In alternate exterior angles, they are angles. These are angles that they live on alternate sides of the transversal, and outside the lines, the parallel lines, lines of A and B, which are the parallel lines. Angles that live on alternate sides of the transversal and outside lines of A and B on this diagram here. So we're going to be talking about, so you know what? I bet you guys are smart enough to tell me which ones would be alternate exterior angles. Did you say 2 and 7? If you did, you were reading my mind. These would be alternate exterior angles. They're on the outside, right? Just like outside of the sandwich. And they're alternating. They're not on the same side as the transversal. So if number 2 is 60 degrees, You know 7 is what? How much? Yeah, 60 degrees. What's another alternate exterior angle? Did you say, let's see if I can use a different color here. 1 and 8? Yeah. So if 8 was, I don't know, I'm just picking up a random number, 110, then you can tell me what 1 is, right? Without even doing any complicated math. So knowing this information can help you solve so many equations without having to open up or pick up a protractor. All right? So let's keep it moving, keep it rolling, and we'll have some time to practice and stuff with these. Okay, let's get through all the definitions first. All right, so we're on the same side interior angles. Let's draw our diagram just again, okay? All right, guys, so you should have been drawing the same diagram. We're going to talk about same side interior angles and same side exterior angles. We already talked about the difference between interior and exterior angles, right? So, if we're talking about the same side interior angles, which ones might be same side and interior? Did you say 3 and 5? Yeah. 3 and 5 would be same side interior angles. And then what other ones do we have that are same side interior angles? Yeah, 4 and 6 are also same side interior angles. But unlike same side interior angles, these two are not going to be equal. 4 and 6 are not going to be equal. So they're not congruent. Okay? They don't have something fancy about them to know about. So let's write that in there. The same side interior angles are not congruent. So you can't say they're equal. But there is something special about them. They are not congruent. Okay? So you can't use it like the others. Mine were purple. So angle 5 and 3 are interior same side angles, and angle 6 and 4 are. Do you notice something different else about them though? We're going to kind of talk more about this on tomorrow with our next lesson. But I'm going to kind of give you the hint here. When these two angles combine, when I take whatever this one is and whatever 3 is, they come together and they must equal 180 degrees. Guess what, guys? It's the same thing for the exterior angles. They must equal 180 degrees, just like this one. They are also not congruent, right? But the angles are different. They had to be on the same side. Which ones are same side exterior angles? Did you say 1 and 7? Yeah, but they're going to equal 180 together. So angle 1 and angle 7. And then angles 2 and angle 8 are also same side exterior angles. I'm trying to look, see. Because you can use this yellow, huh? This yellow-green. So the key thing about these is they're same side interior angles. They're going to equal 180. But they're not congruent. So they're not going to be equal to one another. All right. So that's a lot of information I just gave you. I'm going to give it some time to practice on and can work on some of these together. All right. So all right, guys, let's practice real quick. I want you to draw this angle here, this diagram here, and put that number 2 is equal to 65. And I want you to see, I want to see if you can identify how much each one of these angles are worth just based off this one angle. I bet you can do it. Okay? So I want you to try it out. Pause the video now and try to work through it. I'm about to continue. So here we go. If I were you, I'd definitely do the easier ones first, right? If you already know corresponding angles, remember corresponding angles are those angles that live on the same side of the transversal and the same side of the parallel line, right? So if number 2 is 65, we automatically know that 6 is 65 degrees. Angle 6 is 65 degrees because angles 2 and angle 6 are corresponding angles. So we know that they are congruent, right? So I know that this has to be 65. Okay? What else? What else do we already know? Yeah, look at number 7. Number 7, angle 7 and angle 2 are, what do we call those? Yeah, angles. These are also going to be 65 because angle 2 and angle 7 are alternate exterior angles. Exterior angles, which means that they are also congruent, right? That makes it congruent. All right, is there another? Oh, I kind of told you, now number 3. Number 3 is 65. Put the answer there. Why is angle 3 65? If you already know about vertical angles, which you're going to talk about that. This is a vertical angle. These two are vertical angles. These two are vertical angles. That can help you answer that. But if you didn't know that, angle 6 is congruent to angle 2 because they're corresponding. And angle 3 is congruent to angle 6 because they're alternate interior angles. So I'll write that one down. That makes sense for what we talked about today. Angle 3 and angle 6 are congruent because they are alternate interior angles. That means that they are also congruent. All right, so now we just have to figure out, so we got number 3 too, right? We can figure this one out. We're going to kind of talk about, oh, and I put this one here too. We know that from here to here, we talked about something. Those interior, I think it was on the same side interior angles. What did I tell you about these? They have to equal what? Yeah, 180. So for 3, let's say number 5. So because they are same side, interior angles, they are supplementary. So remember what that means? We're going to dive more into it on tomorrow. But that means that they have to equal 180. So if I know that 65 is already here, 180 minus 65 is 115 degrees. So 15 is 115. 5 is 115. So then I can figure everything else out, guys. This right here are supplementary angles as well. They're same side exterior angles. So this was also 115. This one's going to be 115. And 4 is going to be 115. Okay? So let's go in. And like I said, we'll dive more into the supplementary angles on tomorrow. I now want you to, all right, guys, let's talk about what it might look like on the ACT. It might look something similar to this. There was no exemplar inside your ACT booklet that we sent you, so I pulled this one out for you. I want to see if you can try to figure this one out. It says, what is the value of y and x based off of what we just talked about and what we learned? Y it's probably gonna be your E. Well, who knows? Pause the video now, and I want you to try to figure that out. Okay. All right. So we know that this angle here and this angle here are going to be congruent because they are called corresponding angles. So I know that 2i is equal to 24. So if I want to know what y is, I just have to divide 2 on both sides. So y equaled 12. Right? Because 12, I plug it into y, it's going to equal 24, and it's going to give me 24 here. All right, so if we want to look at this one, what's the value of x? 24, these two angles here equal how much? Yeah, 180 degrees because they're supplementary angles. So if we go 24 plus 2x equals 180. So this one you have a few more steps to do for your work. So first thing I'm going to do is subtract this 24. So that gives me 156. So then I had 2x left equals 156. And then I divide by 2. Divide by 2 here. So x actually equals 78. All right, guys. I want you to go in Nearpod for me. And I want you to practice some more of these. Complete your post test. And if you have any questions, feel free to chat me or meet me during our morning feel free to meet me during our office hours. All right, guys, great work today. Okay, guys, so now that we've practiced that, I want you to try to fill these out. And you're going to do that by color coding. Color code squares that equals 60 degrees red. The ones that equal 120 blue. And the ones that equal 180 green. I want you to fill those out. And then I want you to go back into the Nearpod. And I want you to start working on, I have some practice. I have a practice game on there. And a few questions for the post test that I want you to complete. All right, guys, great work today. Looking forward to seeing you on tomorrow. I'll post this answer at the end of the Nearpod. All right, so you can check your work. All right, guys, if you need to see me, make sure that you are coming to the office hours or sending messages in the group chat. All right, guys, see you then.